Hello, this is Rebecca Freedom, and this is episode 11 of Heard Not Seen, produced by John Beethan. Today's topic is close and personal because it's about me, and it's titled "The Secrets of Being a Badass Psychic." So what this has to do with you is any point in your life, whether it's wealth, love, death in the family, addiction, mental illness, just any kind of first world problem you're dealing with, can be enhanced by getting psychic messages. And I'm just going to share the experience that happened so you can get on board with this, because everyone has different thoughts and patterns, beliefs about it. So here we go. I live in Encinitas, California, and there's an emergence of a palpable, powerful community here. And they really understand the communion in community. Like, they're for benefit healers here. And they have a couple different houses: I Temple, Skypad, the Tree House up in Carlsbad, and then also the Garden of Eden here in Encinitas. And so I gave a psychic reading to this lovely person called Jolie Dawn, and she champions entrepreneurship for women. And that reading turned into a post on Facebook where she was like, "Rebecca's badass," completely accurate. I would say the part of the reading that blew me away, where I was like, wow, this is really good information, is there are so many coaches out in the world of Facebook and other places who are hawking the wares of build your email list, make six figures, blah, blah, blah. Here's the technique. And I will tell you that, like, if you're seeing them online, they're already outdated. Okay. And that is the information that came through, because Jolie was about to spend like $8,000 on a course. And I was like, girl, I was like, we are getting back to the 70s spirit of like communication in small groups. If you go stadium communication, it's still, I was like, yoga studios are the new stadiums. The 10 people pod that you're doing every single week, where you're giving them something to believe in, and you impact those people's lives so profoundly that they start to shift their community. I was like, that's where it's at. The intimate space is where it's at. The old school, like playing in the bar, you know, Mr. Piano Man, Billy Joel style, right? With the microphone smells like a beer kind of style, where it's like intimate and close. I was like, that's a new paradigm. And if you want to go big, you're going to be on tour. And that all came through when I was doing a reading. And I just got confirmation from her today where she's like, you were so accurate and so right. She's like, that was an alignment. That was my truth. And it's totally helped me release it and move forward. So that's one example. That's one powerful example of somebody who is already a badass in the community, so connected. She has such a very precise way of being in the world, and is really organized in a way that is incredible. And I think, and this is why she's a great coach. So shout out to Jolie. And that, her post being like, Rebecca gave me a great reading, led to me meeting a girl named Jen, 411, Italian Spitfire, parkour, and she teaches flow state. She's moving into corporations where she's really teaching people to use art to drop the story and to access parts of their body that help them access that creative ability. Basically, unblock the channel to spirit is what I'm going to say. And I met her, and we had a little chitty chat, because what was moving through her was really big, powerful energy. A lot of the fields were burning, so to speak. And she invited me to this party because they had a new roommate moving in at what's called the Tree House. So shout out to everybody here that, you know, I'm giving lots of props all around to the community here. And I hope it's okay with everybody. And if it's not, you know, we'll deal with it later. Will come to me. It's better to ask forgiveness than permission. Take action and clean up along the way. So went to the party, and it was super cool. Like, everybody was so welcoming, really friendly. open, and it was a karaoke party. And so people were singing, I like big butts and cannot lie, and all the classics, total eclipse of the, and there's a high note there. So I'm going to spare everybody listening. But it was fun. It was really cool. And again, I met a whole group of people, and the night started winding down. And what happened was I was invited back up, and I said, hey, why don't I just do, I'm going to spare everybody's ears from bleeding. So why don't I just do a group reading? And so there was about 15 people. It was around 1 a.m. And I just said, okay, well, I do a bunch of different things. I'm a medium, so I can talk to people who've crossed over, angels, ancestors. If there's entities there that are blocking you or thoughts that are not yours, we can kind of do the work to clear those. That's one thing. I can look at your just general overall energy, your chakras, and say, you're this color, kind of translate what that means. So I jumped in and I was like, the quickest readings I can do in just like 0.2 seconds, nanoseconds, is just look at somebody and be like, oh, you're dominantly blue, which means you're dealing mostly with communication issues. Or I really see that you're yellow. And so that's more like forcing things, willpower, really, in a power position. Sometimes you'll see people who are a little bit more green and indigo. And so you're like, well, you're in your more feminine body versus red and orange, which is more the lower chakras, masculine. So there's all different sorts of patternings, just like there's all different sorts of emotions. So I'll just jump in. So I did. I started, and first person, I was like, well, you're more green, and your heart, it's very large. It's out in the, stratosphere, kind of doing its thing. And then I was like, bang, bang, boom. I just next to somebody, I just named the first thing that came to mind. And, for some people, I was like, there's nothing. Actually, there was a couple of people that I was like, yours is a more complicated translation. So I'll get pictures in my head, and I, some pictures I was like, I feel more spirit animal energy, but I was like, ultimately my job as a psychic is to translate spirit. So the things that are obscure and abstract, like a picture I see of a lily or something, I'm just like, that's just completely why would I be seeing that? And I actually had somebody I did a reading for where I said, well, does lily mean anything to you? And this particular person had a girlfriend who passed over, and he's like, yeah, Lily is what I named her. Baba. And I was like, no way. He's like, what's a lily? What does it look like? I was like, oh, it looks like a vagina. He's like, oh, well, that's what I named her, vagina. And I was like, whoa. So it's collaborative in the exchange, and the outcome is clarity. The outcome is clarity, relief, direction, a sense of purpose, a sense of connective ability. And ultimately, if I'm doing my job right as a badass psychic, that person feels empowered to connect to that intuitive ability inside of them. Because we all have it. We literally have it wired into our DNA. We have mirror neurons, which are located in the front part of our brain, and they help signal empathy. So when you do something with if you went to grab a spoon, and a bunch of neurons light up and motor neurons light up. If you watch someone grab a spoon, the same pathways light up. So watching someone do it, that's why entertainment is so captivating. It's because of mirror neurons. And that's one of the biological bases of intuition. Also, there's some ideas about the pineal gland that lead to that as well. And we could veer off down the realm of how psychedelics opens that up. But there's some people like me who are, again, badass at this, that don't need drugs to be able to access this level of awareness. Okay, let's talk about awareness, because ultimately, again, when I'm doing my job as a psychic and I'm translating this energy, it opens the door of awareness and to the place where people are like, oh yeah, I can choose. I've had a point of view about this, like, oh, that guy's bad for me, or I had a bad childhood, or this job is not the job I want to do. And I'm like, dude, that's just a point of view because you've been holding it in place. So it's locked your choices up. What if we open up that point of view to this, and this, and look at the underbelly of it, have some different eagle eye view or more scrutinizing view of it. So the secrets I'm just going to rapid fire them, that I've gotten from being psychic is that we're all in this together. It's an and society. And it's evident by, I think Taoism is the best way to reflect that, is the middle way, and not the extremism of like Christianity that's like, we've locked the market on being right, or any, where you can go into different philosophical realms and kind of feel like, oh, okay, I have the answer. No one has the answer. It's always unfolding. That's the other thing. It's like, it's always unfolding. And when you like really can lean into that, and thank you, Eckhart Tolle, for bringing us the power of now. When you can lean into now is the most potent creative moment, you really can have anything that you want, and you can do, be, and have anything you want. And for me, that's the most incredible space to work with a client, especially because I specialize in people going through breakups, because our lives are predicated on all sorts of relationships with ourselves, with God, with our, hopes and our dreams, tangible and untangible relationships. And the moment that a love relationship or a life path relationship goes into the transition of breakup is fertile ground. It's the fertile void where there's so much possibility that rises in that space. And this is why being a badass psychic really, really, really is effective in that place and moment, because I can't think of anywhere else that people ask, what's next? Now, what do I do? Oh my God. And of course, there's all sorts of arenas where you're like, now what, now what, now what? But it's most potent after you go through heartbreak. It just feels confusing. You feel like, I betrayed myself. How did I not know better? Blah, blah. Like we go down it, but your freedom is imminent. Like I would say that I've also learned the truth sets you free, but you have to figure out what that is for you. That's the other secret. And that's why getting a reading from me is potent and powerful, because we need the dough and leaven it and get it to rise. And I'll say that the clients that I'm working with have the jobs that they've wanted to have. They are independent in the way they want to be. They're closing business deals that are enhancing their lives and their families' lives. They're dating the girl that they want to date. And these are just the current clients I've had. Some clients I have gone through really heartbreaking breakups. And, for everybody I worked with in the past, I would say that we were on a journey together. And if you do end up listening to this, mahalo. I wish you continued wealth and prosperity, and thank you for being cooperative components. And that's the last thing I would say, is that when you have the perspective that I have, you really get to be privy to how much cooperative components are happening all the time. Like just the millions of pieces of energy, of the millions and millions of things that had to all align for you to go to bed and wake up are miraculous. If you live in America, I mean, we could go really, really deep into it. Affluence is an idol. It is a false god. It is not the seat of happiness. When you really look at every single moment, your inhalation and your exhalation, like when you have that moment where you get to choose to breathe deeply and you're the mover that moves, and you go into witness space and you cultivate that as a practice, everything, literally everything is a miracle. The food you ate, because you bought that in a grocery store, it took probably 1,000 people just for the one meal that's on your plate. And the thing that really struck me is that it's all consciousness. The bugs, the chickens, the farm animals, the trees, the rocks, all of it is a different form of consciousness. And we're in cooperative collaboration with all of it. We literally can command the elements. And I will say a client did that the other day. She was like, oh, with all the rain, there should be a rainbow. Looked up and boom, there it was in the faintest. So if this is something you're needing, if this is, I just can't impress enough. And I mean, let me like broaden the story a little bit too, because there are so many intuitive healers. A lot of people really identify as intuitive. And I want to say, of course you are. We all are. I want to give them props. I know that there's certain times in my life when I've been deep in anxiety. I've been deep in anxiety where going to a psychic was super helpful. It provided that clarity. And there's a lot of people that are charlatans that they just claim the title, or they're somewhere in their development of the skill, but it's not to the precision that this gift I have and the way that it comes through me. And I want to say that in a humble place, it blows me away every single time. Every single time I'm reading, I'm just like, no way. What? Even to the point when I was writing my book, Breakup Rehab, I was reading it and I was like, this is really good advice. I should probably pay attention to this. That happens to me all the time too. When I'm writing, it's like the words come out and I'm like, oh, I didn't know that before I wrote it. How amazing. That's so amazing. I was thinking to myself today that there was a rhyme going through my head and I was like, there's a better way and it's way better. And just fun little limericks like that come through. So in the realm of existence, in the realm of living, we are all remembering to love. We are remembering that we fell from grace, but grace is always here to lift us up. It's never separate from us, and the miracle is coming back into union. So one of the places I'm seeing this really start to sweep in community and conscious community is yoga is a very real practice. And I would encourage people to engage in it but engage in it in a mindful way. It's not just about making your abs look awesome. Yoga is really meaning union, to yoke together, mind and spirit, body and soul. And just a quick tangential caveat. Hopefully we'll move away from the textiles we're using to do all our athletics. They're horrendous for the environment. And I'm really feeling that there's a call to be more innovative in the way that we're accessing nature and using it for our best and highest good. So I would say that the passion I have for this is an invitation for the amplification of whatever you're wanting to do in your life. Like, contact me and we're going to up your game and get you to the next level, like, quick. Like, it's amazing just how within 30 minutes to an hour, just so much comes through. And then the cool thing is I actually have a degree, a master's in psychology. So all the components that get stirred up, all the emotions that come from it, I'm able to then support in the long haul. And miracles happen. Like, straight up. What? You did what? Okay, cool. I guess we can ask for whatever you want, be, do, and have whatever you want. So, too legit to quit. So you can contact me at RebeccaFreedom.com. That's REBEKAH freedom.com. And if you have any questions, which I expect you to have questions, of course, fill out one of my contact forms at the website, and I will do my best to get back to you. Lastly, if you hear this podcast, I just want to offer this because my individual sessions are $250 per reading. So I recognize that can be a stretch in faith for some people, or just beyond reach. So if you do reach out to me and you have a limited budget, please let me know, and we'll figure out if it's a fit at that particular time, or if spirit is going to call you to something else where the money does show up. So we can play with that particular piece as well. Also, I work with people a month at a time, and right now that's set at about $1,000 for the month, and I will travel to where you're at. So, there's an ability for you to meet me face to face, and I do hands-on healing, relieve some blocks, call in the angels, and generally, again, initiate your miracle. So thank you for listening, and just know that everybody deserves to find out their sense and style of freedom. And I'm here to help guide you with that. Thanks so much. Take care.